is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. In this video, it's just going to be a quick one today. We're going to be going over an article that ESPN put out. It's the slow season right now, so we're just kind of clinging to any news we can get. But they did a really good job here. ESPN asked all of their beat reporters for surprise offseason standouts for all 32 NFL teams, players to watch. So basically, there's a bunch of defensive players and things like that, but we care about the fantasy offensive players. So we're just going to kind of go through this article together, and I will call out which offensive ones we need to be aware of. So let's kind of I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here, and let's kind of let's just roll right through it. The first one here in Buffalo, wide receiver Trent Sherfield, and it says the ramifications of the Stephon Diggs minicamp drama could still be playing out, but a player who benefited from Diggs not taking part in OTAs and parts of minicamp was Trent Sherfield, one of the Bills' acquisitions to add depth to the receiver room. Sherfield got increased opportunities as the Z receiver for Josh Allen, with Diggs not present. And apparently Josh Allen, he loved him. He said, I love what I've seen from Trent so far. The dude works extremely hard. One of the hardest working guys on the team, doesn't complain about anything. He's rolling right now. So that's good news there for Trent Sherfield. He's trying to make the team. The Bills do have a handful of guys there, whether it's Diggs, Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir. They also added I can't remember who it was. Let me see. Let me find my Bills, our lads. Can't remember who else they added. I thought it was just a guy trying to make the team. No, it's Deontay Hardy. That's who they added. Deontay Hardy probably will make the team. They gave him decent money. Justin Shorter is there as well. But Sherfield right now, slotted to be the starting slot receiver. Maybe he beats out Khalil Shakir. We shall see. What's up, Harris, my man? Hope you're having a great Tuesday afternoon. But yeah, we'll file this one away. Again, it was mandatory mini camps. Diggs was not in there. It sounded like Trent Sherfield was the busiest receiver at Bills camp. I think Khalil Shakir had some good notes in there too. So we're starting slot receiver for the Bills. We're definitely intrigued. So keep an eye on Trent Sherfield's name. The next one here is going to be Miami Dolphins rookie running back Devon Achane here. The rookie third-round pick has already looked like one of the Dolphins' more explosive offensive players, although his practice production should be taken with a grain of salt until the pads go on. Even in non-padded drills, Achane showed prowess as a pass catcher and home run ability after the catch. It's a crowded running room in Miami, and who knows what's going to go on there. I don't think Dalvin Cook's going to sign here in Miami. You never know. But right now you got Raheem Mostert, you got Jeff Wilson Jr., and then Devon Achane is slotted as the third running back here. I would assume he's going to be the best bet for third down work. He just needs to show that he can, hang in the NFL and pass protection. But Achane is a guy that I'm starting to buy more in best ball leagues right now. So we'll file that away. Good to note that he's impressing in mini camps already. New England's Marte Mapu. New York Jets got Max Mitchell here. The Baltimore Ravens, this one's interesting. We got Nelson Agholor. Agholor, 2015 first rounder. It's his fourth team in 5 years, but he made a really strong impression in his first offseason with the Ravens. Nelly, as Lamar Jackson calls him, has repeatedly stood out, whether it's a long touchdown grab or a nifty grab or a back shoulder throw. Agholor is the clear-cut number 4 wide receiver in Baltimore, but he's making a case for a bigger role in the passing game. Harbaugh says he has been on point. He's a talented guy, former first-round pick. He looks at rangy, big catch radius. That's a big deal here because we don't really trust the Ravens receivers to stay healthy, whether it's Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman got the cortisone shot, a couple of weeks ago as well. They have a rookie in Zay Flowers. All it takes is one of these 3 guys to miss some action, and boom, you have a starting receiver for Lamar Jackson with Nelson Agholor here. So I'm definitely interested in Nelson Agholor, whether it's 18th, 19th, 20th round of best ball formats right now. File him away. Not a guy we're going to care for redraft. He's probably like a waiver wire type guy that makes sense at some point, but keep an eye on Nelson Agholor. Cincinnati Bengals say Sidney Jones the 4th. Their cornerback here. This one was kind of interesting to me. It's Marquise Goodwin for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns made a couple noteworthy moves to upgrade their receiving corps this offseason, trading for Elijah Moore, drafting Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. Yet another under-the-radar addition, the 32-year-old Goodwin dominated Cleveland's minicamp, flashing the downfield wheels that could make him an intriguing weapon for quarterback Deshaun Watson. When asked about Goodwin's speed, it opens up other guys underneath the run game and also the intermediate and short game. Goodwin won't be a primary option, but he could be an impactful one. So the top 3 receiving roles for the Browns are all kind of set in stone. There's going to be competition for the 4th and 5th ones, though. Let's take a look at this Browns depth chart. You have, of course, Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore. They drafted Cedric Tillman. David Bell still there, Anthony Schwartz still there, Michael Woods still there too. But Marquise Goodwin, man, he might be, week one, he might be the fourth receiver in the mix over the rookie. So maybe there's a point where it's heavy Goodwin to start the year and Tillman kind of slowly works his way in. But Goodwin, not a guy I'm drafting for fantasy. He's the number 4 receiver there. He could be a last round pick in a best ball league or something like that. But if this continues, we should keep an eye on it. But it's Goodwin. He's 32. He really hasn't ever made any noise of late here. So we'll just kind of file that one away. This one's interesting too. The Steelers and Connor Hayward. I'm not going to read it, but it sounded like he was primed for a bigger role. It says here. So he only had 17 targets, got a touchdown last year. He's got chemistry with Kenny Pickett and Derek Watt gone. There's going to be more Connor Hayward on the field. So keep an eye on Connor Hayward. Not so much for fantasy though. Houston Texans say Derek Stingley Jr. is their player. The Colts say Julian Blackmon, the safety there. Jags say Cleavon Chason here, the linebacker. Let's see, the Titans. This one I love. It's wide receiver Treylon Burks. He's one of my favorite receivers to draft right now. It says there's a different swagger with Burks, who reported to the facility with noticeably leaner build. The 2022 first-round pick is playing at a different speed from his rookie season. Burks said the difference this season is he's in better shape, and the numerous plays he has made during OTAs/minicamp are evidence. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill has faith to throw Burks' way, regardless whether he's wide open or in tight coverage. And this has been a steady drumbeat all through Tennessee Titans minicamps. Burks was the main difference maker here. And it sounds like I'm still willing to bet Tannehill is going to be the starting quarterback for 13, 14, 15 games. And if the Titans, it's a pretty easy division in the AFC South. If the Titans are within distance, they're going to keep playing Tannehill. They're going to keep trying to get into the playoffs. Maybe we only see Will Levis at the end of the year. But Treylon Burks, definitely going to be one of those huge second-year guys that takes a big step forward. So we love Treylon. Keep watching for him in July. This one kind of caught my attention. Denver Broncos Jaleel McLaughlin, an undrafted rookie who had more than 8,000 rushing yards in a 5-year career at Youngstown State, showed speed, vision, decisiveness in the no pads portion of Denver's offseason program. He's undersized, 5'7", 187 pounds, but his potential as a runner is clear, especially if he shows that same one-cut, foot in the ground decisiveness when the pads go on. So it's spring. The Broncos do need some. The Broncos have been rumored to be interested in a veteran running back. I'm not even sure we're ever going to say Jaleel McLaughlin's name again. But they do have Javonte, Samaje, Tyler Beatty, Tony Jones Jr. Maybe they can squeeze an undrafted guy on this roster. They're still one of the favorites to sign a veteran back. But we'll keep an eye on that. Jaleel McLaughlin. Another undrafted rookie free agent here for the Chiefs, running back Deneric Prince. He took advantage of a thin running back chart and stood out as a receiver during offseason practice, making several difficult catches. With Isaiah Pacheco recovering from offseason surgery, Prince has a chance to claim not only a roster spot, but some playing time if he shows an aptitude for pass protection at training camp. This was a kind of a big deal to me because you didn't have Pacheco out there at mini camps and you didn't have Jerick McKinnon. So it was only Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Deneric Prince getting reps with the first team offense. And we saw it last year. Isaiah Pacheco kind of came out of nowhere and he was the better back by the end of the season. I'm not saying that's going to be the same case for Deneric Prince, but the dude's already impressing in mini camps. So that's one check mark on the box. If we get to July and he's still making plays, we're going to have to start taking note of this. And the Chiefs don't really have a lot of depth. They have 4 running backs. They got Pacheco, he's got some nicks and bruises, man. I don't know if he's going to be completely healthy for training camp quite yet. We got Pacheco, Clyde Edwards, McKinnon, and Deneric Prince, who probably will make the team as the 4th running back. The Raiders are citing Divine Diablo as their playmaker here. Let's see who else we can find. This one's kind of interesting. The Chargers in tight end Donald Parham Jr. The Chargers were expected to add a tight end in the draft, but after 3 days and 7 picks, none was selected. Brandon Staley at the time expressed confidence in the ability of Parham, who re-signed on a 2-year, $1.4 million deal. He spent significant time sidelined last year because of a hamstring injury, but flashed during 7-on-7 play at the Bolts' 2-day minicamp, highlighted by a deep catch down the sideline from Justin Herbert. He moves so well for his height, Herbert said. He's been able to make plays over the last couple of years. It's always a bonus for your team when he's out on the field. His catch radius is huge. I think, to me, this is more of just I'm not super excited about Donald Parham for fantasy football this year. Like, he would need he would need a Gerald Everett injury for us to really care about him. So if you see Gerald Everett with a hamstring injury, he's going to be out for a couple of weeks or something. Parham might be a guy that we call up off the waiver wire at some point. I don't know if I'm taking any flyers on in best ball drafts right now with the 18th or the 20th round pick. But keep a note on Parham because he's just another weapon in a stocked cabinet for the Chargers this year. So I think you want to bet on the Chargers offense. I think it's going to be a pretty fun offense with Kellen Moore. So we'll kind of file that away. And again, Donald Parham, maybe a waiver wire ad at some point this offseason or this season. Dallas Cowboys pumping up Eric Scott Jr., the corner. Here we go. The New York Giants and Darren Waller. It took all of one play to see the difference Waller can make for this offense. On the first play of OTAs with the media in attendance, Waller blew by the nickel corner and caught a deep ball down the right sideline. It was the first of many plays in which Waller stood out because of his size and explosiveness. Most importantly, he looked healthy after 2 injury-plagued seasons. That's the key. The Giants acquired Waller for a third-round pick in March, and there's a look at Darren Waller. I'm excited about Darren Waller. I do need more exposure to him in my best ball drafts right now. And the way I'm thinking about it is you're kind of getting a wide receiver at the tight ends position. So he's kind of a cheat code there. If we can get him close to what his heyday was when he was with the Raiders and Derek Carr, we might be able to get that with New York. And the reason why it makes sense in New York is because they don't really have any good receivers there. They have a bunch of just a bunch of guys. I mean, you got Isaiah Hodgins. I do like Darius Slayton, but Slayton's game and Waller's game don't really match. So you could see a lot of Darren Waller lined up in the slot, eating up the middle of the field, stretching the seams. I'm in on Waller. I do recognize that I need more Darren Waller in my draft portfolio this year, and he's definitely a guy. In redraft leagues right now, you can get him as the 5th, 6th, 7th tight end off the board. It's a good bet, and if he gets healthy and plays the whole season, he's going to be a hit. If not, you can always find another tight end. I think he's a guy that I want to bet on and take a swing at. The Eagles say Christian Ellis, their standout linebacker here. The Commanders are saying Kaliki Hudson, their linebacker. A lot of linebackers on this list. The Bears got Tyreek Stevenson, their cornerback. Let's see. The Lions, Ifiatu Melifonwu, the safety. The Packers, this one's important. Romeo Doubs. I want this little ad thing to go away. Romeo Doubs, the Green Bay Packers. While Christian Watson got most of the attention for his big plays late last season, Doubs has seemingly become Jordan Love's go-to guy, at least in the offseason practices. Whether it's in scripted team periods or move the ball drills like the 2-minute simulation, Doubs has been targeted time and again. Don't forget, it was Doubs who starred last preseason when Love got all the number one when Love got all the number 1 reps in games because Rodgers didn't play, and Doubs was off to a strong start last year as a rookie until midseason ankle injury changed his trajectory. I think you want to be high on Romeo Doubs. I think there's a chance that Doubs is the legit number 2 wide receiver for this team the rest of the year. It seems like they want to get Jaden Reed into the number 3 role in slot positions, but Doubs is going to stay outside in 2 wide receiver sets. I think Doubs is going to stay on the field with Watson. There's it's a non-zero chance that Doubs leads the team in receptions this year. I think it's pretty sure that Watson will lead in receiving yards, but I'm not convinced on touchdowns and receptions. So for where Romeo's being drafted right now, you can get him in the double-digit rounds. He's moving up boards, though, really fast. So if you're trying to get him, I think he's like a 10th round pick at the moment right now, especially in full PPR format. So keep an eye on Romeo Doubs. I know he's working out with Jordan Love this offseason. And this is, again, he lit it up in training camp last year. He's probably going to have a lot of noise going into July again. So Romeo Doubs for the Packers. The Vikings got Josh Metellus here, D-back. No, I'm not sure about this one. The Falcons wide receiver Josh Ali, or is it Ali, in Atlanta's wide open receiver room after Drake London. It is an almost unknown player who has stood out. Ali, who was on the practice squad last season after suffering a knee injury late in his college career at Kentucky, worked a bunch in 22 with the Falcons starting quarterback Desmond Ridder. That chemistry has shown, and Ali has gotten work with the veterans, usually a good sign for a player with 14 career snaps and 1 career target. Will he make the team? It's unclear, but something to keep an eye on. The Falcons need wide receiver help. It's Drake London. It's I can't remember his name right now. It's totally escaping me. They just signed him from the Raiders. Why can't I think of his name? I thought it was going to be I thought Mac Hollins would have been their surprise standout from this camp because he was the guy that I was reading about on all the athletic articles. But Mac Hollins is the number 2, number 3, number 4 up for grabs. The Panthers are citing Marquise Haynes Sr., their star playmaker from OTAs. And then another interesting one here, Foster Moreau for the Saints. Moreau isn't exactly an unknown quantity after 4 seasons and 12 touchdowns with the Raiders. Nobody quite knew when Moreau would be able to return to football. However, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in the offseason. It would be impossible to know the detail based on his play in OTAs and minicamp. Moreau was a frequent target of quarterback Derek Carr throughout practice and participated in 11-on-11 drills without limitations. He worked with both the first and second team during OTAs and could compete with Juwan Johnson for snaps as the team's number 1 or number 2 starting tight end. I think this one's very important because if it's kind of like the one with Donald Parham, if anything happens to Juwan Johnson, Juwan Johnson's a poor man's Darren Waller. He's strictly a receiving tight end who has learned to block, and he's not a liability in the running game anymore. But Foster Moreau is he is your all-around blocking tight end. He can do some things with the ball in his hand too as a receiver. So Moreau probably going to be the number 2 tight end behind Juwan. But hey, if Juwan Johnson gets hurt, we're going to be looking at Foster Moreau on the waiver wire. So keep an eye on him. Taysom Hill's going to mix in with that tight end group, but he's kind of a different thing. Tampa Bay, Servoxia Dennis. I'm still not sure if I'm saying his name right, but the linebacker there. I like this one for the Cardinals. Wide receiver Michael Wilson, the rookie third rounder, has impressed his coaches and teammates with his route running and talent. Wilson benefited from DeAndre Hopkins not taking part in any voluntary workouts before he was released, and Marquise Brown not being involved much this offseason either. That led to him getting a significant number of reps, which has helped him to climb to the depth chart to a point where he could be a factor in Arizona's offense. So this one's important. He should be on your radar for best ball leagues in one of your last picks of the draft, because look at the wide receivers here. You have Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch. These guys are all pretty small, slight receivers. Zach Pascal's a little bit bigger. I don't think we're worrying about Andre Basilia, Brian Cobbs, Brandon Smith, Daniel Arias. I think Michael Wilson's their 4th best receiver, and he is their number 1 big receiver. Like Brown, Rondale, Greg Dortch, these guys are all small builds. Michael Wilson's their best big man, so I think he's going to play a lot. They're going to probably rotate Rondale and Greg Dortch in there, leave Marquise Brown on the field for the most part, but I think Michael Wilson has a chance to earn the starting spot right away. So keep an eye on Michael Wilson. He's a guy that I want more shares of. And then let's see here. We got 2 more wide receivers for you guys. The Rams pumping up wide receiver Puke Nacua, a 5th-round draft pick out of BYU. He earned steady praise from Coach Sean McVay, quarterback Matthew Stafford, and fellow wideout Cooper Kupp. Nacua seems to have picked up the offense quickly and has a knack for getting open, which bodes well for carving out a role in a receiving corps that lacks certainty behind Cooper Kupp. Let's look at the Rams depth chart, because this is one that I think you want to be picking some guys in this. After Cooper Kupp, I think it's safe to say Van Jefferson's going to be on the field a lot as the number 2 receiver. But after that, you're going to see Ben Skowronek, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, maybe Demarcus Robinson all kind of rotate in as the 3rd wide receiver. There has been some nice Tutu Atwell moments in training camp as well, but it sounds like Puka kind of just blew everybody away, a 5th-round rookie, and they were moving him around a lot. They were putting him in the backfield. They were finding ways to get him the ball quickly. Keep an eye on Puka Nacua. With your best ball leagues, he might be your last pick of your draft. And then Tutu Atwell as well for the Rams. And then it looks like this is our last one here, and it's San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. It's not really a surprise to say the team's leading receiver was a standout in the offseason program, but the extent to which Aiyuk seems ready to elevate his game might catch some people off guard. There's a good argument to be made that he was consistently the best player on the field during OTAs and minicamp, as his performance left fellow wideout Deebo Samuel marveling that you can't cover that boy in a phone booth. And cornerback Diamador Lenore declaring that Aiyuk will be a top 5 receiver this season. Pretty high praise here. You got Deebo coming out and gushing about him. You got star cornerback here gushing about him. It sounds like Ayuk's picking up where he left off last year. He was a top 20 wide receiver, I believe. First year over 1,000 yards. It looks like he is finally maturing into his role. So I like shares of Brandon Aiyuk. He costs a 5th-round pick right now in best ball formats. On DraftKings, I think he's a 6th-rounder. So try and get Aiyuk when you can. I like him a lot. Seahawks noted Mike Jackson here as their cornerback for their player. But that's it. Those are the really good article, guys. This one was really fun. I did post it in the link here, too, in the chat room. If you guys want to check it out, please do so. Again, ESPN went through and asked all of their beat reporters to basically say which team or which player was a surprise training camp blurb, and that's what we ended up with. So that's it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I will be doing another live stream 7 p.m. Central tonight. We're going to be going over my best ball exposures. I'm going to show you guys who I've drafted the most on Drafters, DraftKings, and of course, Underdog. So we'll see you guys then. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you are new. We're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber goal by the end, I guess by the time the season starts. So we'll see what happens. If we hit it during the season, that's cool too. But hey, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We'll see you later tonight. Peace.